Hello and welcome to the Rockies Now podcast. I'm your host, Steven, along with Tom for the ride. And we have our guy, Chris, back on the show. Good to see you, Chris. First question, how are you doing? Secondly, how the Rockies contacted you about working in the front office?
Yeah. Look, 2025 has actually been pretty crazy from a personal perspective. So the second one might actually not have been as crazy as you might have thought. That has not happened. To answer the second question first, but the first question, doing fantastic, man. Life has been good. Everything's amazing. A lot of new life changes, but I'm happy to be back on with y'all. It's been a minute.
Absolutely. And, again, we have had you on for the last 2 or 3 times. So it's awesome and always a pleasure to have you on here. How about the World Series, guys, as we jump into our first segment? Obviously, it's going back to Toronto and day off today as of recording here on Thursday evening. How are we feeling? The Blue Jays, come on. The pitching performance yesterday was incredible. Their offense was doing great. I will say, though, the Dodgers threw the ball away so many times in the game that gave the opportunity for the Blue Jays to take Game 5 of the World Series in Los Angeles. So at least we're happy as Rockies fans and as official Dodgers haters here on the Rockies podcast. We won't have to worry about any more games in Los Angeles this year. So I'm going to kick it off here with Chris. Chris, thoughts on the series so far, and do you think the Blue Jays have what it takes to finish this off either tomorrow or in Game 7?
Well, dude, I certainly hope they do because, Look, I was talking with Adam, I think maybe last week, and Adam said that earlier in spring training, he picked the Blue Jays to win the whole thing. I can't verify that. Maybe he mentioned that on the pod, but I picked the Blue Jays to win the whole thing in August after they absolutely destroyed the Rockies. So that's all I needed to see. I was like, the Rockies are a bad team, but to drop 45 runs in a 3-game series, even against us, is pretty impressive. So they've been my pick since August, and I'm very pleased to say that we're now 1 win away. So I've been very impressed with them so far. I think Game 1 was absolutely amazing. It was just cool to see them come out and demonstrate their max potential. I've been kind of watching the postseason with my dad, at least most of it since the divisional round. And he hadn't watched any of the Blue Jays games. And I kept hyping up their offense like, dude, they just don't strike out and they put the ball in play and they hit home runs. They literally just do everything. And so to see them come out the first game and do that was dope. Second game, they kind of were a little bit more stagnant, obviously, because Yamamoto is amazing. But Game 3 was close, incredible game, 6.5 hours long. Would hate to sit in that traffic after the game.
Much.
But close game, lost it close, but they bounced back in games 4 and 5. So very pleased with the squad. I think they wrap it up this weekend. I'm not going to say tomorrow, but I think they wrap it up and make me and Adam correct.
Yeah. What time did you stop watching the game the other night? I stopped watching at 11 innings. I was like, this is going to go on forever. It brought back to that 2018 World Series, Red Sox and Dodgers, when that went to 18 innings as well. And I find it ironic that both series, I think, were like 3-2. Am I right? Red Sox or over the Dodgers 3-2, or I don't think it went to a Game 7. I think it was a Game 6, and it sealed it in LA. So it a little bit ironic there, Chris and Tom. I don't know about you, but how did you? What inning did you stop at? Because again, you're an hour in front of us, so I'm assuming you stopped rather early.
I stopped honestly around 12:30. I had to get up early the next day, otherwise I would have stayed up all night to watch the whole game. It is kind of funny. Look, they showed top 5 longest extra inning playoff games, and number 4 on that list was ironically 20 years ago, the Game 3 of the 2005 World Series between the White Sox and Astros, which went to 14 innings. Everybody knows some of the funny stories around that one, whether Jeff Blum hitting the go-ahead home run or Mark Burley coming in for a save when allegedly he had 3 Miller Lights in him. So that's another funny story. But no, I like that. We talked about before the World Series start. I thought this was going to be either a pitching duel or a slugfest. It's been a bit of both. Both offenses are well built. With power, contact. They haven't been striking out a ton in certain games, but there have been pitching duels. And I got to say, Savage, wow, he rose to the occasion as a rookie. Yeah. This is what sometimes in the playoffs, there are those games or moments that are defined by a specific player. He had his game last night, and it is kind of cool because this season will start and end outside of the United States. The season started in Japan and it will end in Canada. So it's kind of it is an interesting fact, but true. And I got to say, for the Blue Jays, anybody who's watched a playoff game or a big time game in that ballpark, especially when the roof is closed, I mean, I keep thinking back to that one game again between the Blue Jays and the Rangers where Bautista hit that monster of a home run and the place just erupted. So if the Blue Jays do win game 6 or 7, regardless if they win the series, that roof is going to explode off because I guarantee it's going to be closed. Bottom line is it's been an amazing series. And for the Blue Jays, I really hope they pull this off, but we'll have to wait and see because the Dodgers, they're not going to go down without a fight.
Yeah. Savage, he started the year, or it was in spring training, he was in single A. Like, that's just insane to think about. Like, you don't hear that very often, but it's also just like, you're not surprised. I mean, the Blue Jays arguably are the best team in baseball. They played like the entire season. And again, we're hoping that they win tomorrow. And I listen, I know every year, whenever we see the Dodgers lose in the playoffs, of course, unfortunately not last year, but it's just like, we like to make fun of the Dodgers. Hey, it's finally over. The Dodgers, kind of like the Chiefs, guys, they're still going to be back next year. However, it was, I'll give my respect to Clayton Kershaw, who, was his last time to be at Dodger Stadium. What a great career he's had. Coming from a Rockies fan, we've seen him for so many years, and great pitcher, great guy off the field. So hats off to Kershaw there. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that we're already here at the season's end. And, I feel like we just started spring training like a week or two ago. And now as we start to focus toward the offseason, there's a lot of questions to be asked about, okay, what are the Rockies going to do as we start heading into this second segment of tonight's show? I guess breaking news, I did not actually see this tweet until like right before we actually started. Patrick Saunders of the Denver Post posted out on X or Twitter, however you call it, that the Rockies don't plan on naming their their operations guy or their GM until next week. But the vibe that he tweeted that out says that the Rockies had made their choice. They're just not going to reveal it, which is kind of interesting. And Tom, we're gonna talk about those two guys, and so if you want to start off here with those two guys, kind of give a background of each of those guys and why they might fit here in Colorado.
Well, Matt Foreman, of course, is currently the executive vice president and assistant general manager at the Cleveland Guardians. I think it's a good. Now, Chris, obviously, I think he would have maybe a similar take on this or not, but I'll let him give it later. Adam and I keep harping. It would be nice if we had an outside hire from some team that knows how to develop within the Guardians. They are, I like to call, being an AL Central team fan myself, they are a pitching factory. They know how to manufacture pitchers, develop them from CC Sabathia to Cliff Lee, Jake Westbrook, to now you got guys like like Corey Kluber. I'm drawing a blank. There's so many different ones that go. List goes on. I'm drawing a blank on
McKenzie.
Yeah, thank you, Tristan McKenzie is another one. So I would like it, especially considering the fact is he comes from an organization that knows how to develop pitching. That's something that Colorado, the Rockies, need to do from within, because as we all know, we've had bad luck luring free agent pitchers from other teams to our team. And the other one, okay, I hope I get this right. The Diamondbacks senior vice president, assistant general manager. Apologies to him if I get your name wrong. Amiel Saudea. I'm sorry. Again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Again, another team that has had coming off a successful rebuild. Again, the Diamondbacks had a little bit of an up and down year to the point where they missed the playoffs, even though they're 2 years removed from a World Series appearance. Again, I think this would be a great hire. I'll give you another somewhat successful hire that's come from the Diamondbacks organization. Josh Barfield, the White Sox current assistant general manager. He oversaw player development of that successful core. So it goes to show you there's some really talented employees in the Diamondbacks front office. So those are the two big names that are out there. Again, Thad Levine's name is still out there. Whether or not he comes here, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. He did oversee some 6 or 7 successful years with the Minnesota Twins, even with the iffiness of the ownership situation over there. But the interesting thing is that I don't know if you guys have a similar opinion. I'll let you guys give a comment on this. My final take on it is, if Thad Levine were to get hired, would he bring Rocco Baldelli over here as his manager? That would be an interesting thing if that were to happen. Good or bad, I don't know. But the point is, that's the background of the three candidates that I mentioned so far. And it wouldn't surprise me if the day after the World Series ends, when they make, okay, here's our big announcement. This is the guy we're hiring. They're just because I think also, I'm sure baseball does have control over this, or tells teams, hey, don't make any big announcements during the World Series because they want all the attention on what's going on, especially considering some bit of history could happen pending which team wins, back-to-back wins, or it's a team's first title in over 30 years. So it doesn't surprise me if Rob Manfred told the Monforts, hey, we know you want to make the announcement, but wait until the World Series concludes. So again, I like those two aside of the Levines, Foreman or Sade. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced Sade. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the word. My apologies. If he's hired, I'll get it right. I promise. But the thing is, I like both candidates. I think they offer a lot. They come from two teams that have had recent success in terms of development from within. So, I'm all for either one, to be honest with you. And it'll be interesting to see if and when one of those two is hired.
Yeah, I have my own thoughts on it, but I want to hear Chris on his take on that.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting choice, right? At least between the two that have been mentioned. You have two candidates that are fairly similar in some ways, but they're also a little bit different in some ways as well. So as far as I know, Sade is about 10 years older than Foreman is. That's the first difference. They both come from a scouting background, so that's a similarity between the two of them. And so either way, assuming one of them gets hired, there's going to be another person who has a background in scouting leading the Colorado Rockies baseball operations. But I think for me, Sade is the more intriguing candidate. And it's not just because he's the older, more experienced of the two. It's also based on a few things. Number one, he's had experience with multiple organizations and success with multiple organizations. So with the Red Sox, which is where he started off, being a part of building 3 World Series teams is pretty impressive. He was a part of the 2010 draft situation in that scouting department that drafted Mookie Betts. So then he goes to the Diamondbacks, right? With who is it? Mike Hazen, I think their GM is. Yep. He goes to the Diamondbacks with them, and he's a part of getting Corbin Carroll. So, I mean, based on his reputation and things that even Torey Lovullo has said about him, and the fact that he's just a great organizational leader, he understands every aspect of the game from high level down to the details. He's great with people, building relationships, building culture, and he was a part of turning one of the worst farm systems overall, not just pitching, but overall farm systems in baseball, in the D-back system, into one of the best farm systems in a team that made the World Series in recent years. There's a lot to like with the potential that he brings to an organization in Colorado that needs a whole organizational reconstruction. And so as someone who's very biased educationally, given that I just wrapped up my MBA last year and I enjoyed a lot of that change management and organizational leadership aspect of that program, there's a lot to like about a guy who understands not just the people aspect, but also culture building, organization building, so that this team is not just good, but is like sustainably good. That said, Foreman is also pretty exciting too. And so even though he's younger, he clearly is doing something right, because for a man in his mid-30s to advance to be the assistant general manager of a team that's had pretty good success in the last decade or so, there's nothing to scoff at there. And so clearly he's a smart guy. I think he has an analytics background, which is something a lot of people like. Obviously, Cleveland has had one of the better pitching staffs in the league over the last few years. And so I wouldn't be upset if they went that direction. Teams like the Nationals seem to be going younger with leadership as well. I don't know how old their new GM or PBO is, but I know they just hired a 33-year-old manager today.
Yep.
Yeah, right, to lead their organization. Yeah. And so that's another team that's kind of in the process of rebuilding. And so it really just depends on what Rockies ownership wants. If they want a team that is going to grow together, then they might go with a guy like Foreman, because the Rockies are a young team themselves. But if they really want someone with more stability, who has proven success in multiple different teams in multiple different contexts, then I think Sade would be the guy. And I'm more partial to him for that reason. But I'm interested to see what Steve has to say now that Tom and I have gotten our say in.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you guys. I also want to, I don't think Sade ever worked for the Dodgers, but I think he's very familiar with that organization. But he knows the NL West very much so. And he did have some experience when I think Mike Hazen was out for a while. I think when wife was it his wife, or I think it was his wife tragically
wife.
passed away. So he kind of took over for a few days. But both very intriguing guys, as both of you said. Matt Foreman is very interesting. I'm not saying that this is a guy like Jonah Hill in Moneyball, where he comes from the Guardians organization, where he comes from a very good school and he has analytics, all written over his walls and his brain and everything. I'm not saying Matt Foreman is that guy, but it's from an organization that has had success, that's known nothing but success. Well, granted, they haven't won a World Series in a very long time. They have the longest active Major League Baseball streak to not win a World Series. However, they are in the playoffs almost every single year. And they, again, you alluded to it, Tom and Chris, that they know how to develop pitchers. And they know how to develop very well. And you usually don't see the Guardians trailing in the farm system when it comes to rankings. I will say that I think the Rockies' rankings this year in terms of the farm system were very much underrated. I mean, the Rockies were like very low, surprisingly, this year. A lot of it I know has to do with success, and I get that. But there's a lot of underrated players. And we've talked this multiple times. I think, whether it's you, Chris, or somebody else on the show, of how we feel like the Rockies minor league system is so underrated. There's so many good guys on this on the Rockies farm system rankings that are just not even talked about. And one of them is our guy, Rock Riggio. And I think he's going to be a problem. Not to mention, people forget Rock Riggio was the top infield prospect for the Yankees. And he was supposed to be the next second baseman / shortstop. I mean, I know Volpe's there, but he was very highly touted by the Yankees. And I think the Rockies have a very good farm system, and I think it has an opportunity to get even better, which should be exciting for a lot of people. And the Rockies are building toward in the right direction. I truly believe that. We've talked about it multiple times here on the show. Granted, now there's a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, the Rockies are never going to change as long as the Monforts are in arm position." Listen, we're not going to disagree with that, but I will say this though. I think Walker Monfort is realizing, hey, Dad, we need to do things differently. And I get it. Naturally, after whatever 100 plus, close to 120 loss season, you need to make changes. But this has been consistently getting worse. It's not been getting better. And I think Walker Monfort has realized, hey, we've been doing this for a very long time. We've been doing things wrong. We need outside help. And I think Dick Monfort's starting to realize, even though he probably, Chris and Tom, he probably doesn't like to admit it, I think he's realizing, hey, I think I need to just focus on the business side of things, focus on downtown Denver around Coors Field, build whatever you want to build, and let the baseball people do the baseball stuff. And hopefully that's the way the Monforts see that now. And they're starting to realize that. So far, I got to say, a good job to Walker Monfort for actually looking outside the organization. Again, we still don't know who it is. It could be a Thad Levine. They could go with the safe pick there. I highly don't think that they're going to surprise people and decide to stay internally. I think it's very much externally. Given what we've heard, James Click was one of those interesting guys. And I know you commented on one of our posts, Chris, that there had been some sort of reason for James Click not to take that position. Or, I mean, again, with the Blue Jays, they're in the World Series and they have a chance to win it tomorrow. But I don't know what happened, Chris or Tom, like what happened in those conversations. I feel like he approached the Rockies. But again, I've heard reports. I'm not sure if it's true. And I know there's a lot of, baseball executives on X that have their own opinion. But, they've talked about, oh, James Click, there were times where he was in Houston and people did not get along with him. So I'm wondering if that was one of the things that the Rockies saw. And, hey, we like James Click, but we see some things that we just do not like. So we're going to move on and we're going to go with either Foreman or the other guy. So I'm for both of them. Hey, at least the Rockies, these are guys that are completely outside the organization that have had no history with the Rockies organization. Of course, we've said it. They need to have autonomy with this team, and they should not be a yes man. Because speaking of yes people, again, we've seen a lot of hirings in the last few days. I mean, Kurt Suzuki, new manager of the Angels, happy for him, but it's just that's familiarity. Again, brain shocker. With the Twins, I mean, they brought back Blake Shelton, who was their bench coach in the last time, I think it was 2019. That's a
Derek Shelton.
Derek Shelton, yeah. And then which honestly, I know it wasn't necessarily all his fault. It's the ownership in Pittsburgh, but still, I just feel like the Twins, they're not really thinking outside the box and saying, why don't we look at the Rays or the Brewers as somebody in their organization. And you look at the Nationals. I like how the Nationals are doing things very, very young. They're getting young people in their organization, which I think is great. And I think the Nationals are heading in the right direction. And I like to think the Rockies are as well. I think again, Rockies, they need to give full autonomy to whoever they get it to. And again, I'm not sure if you already mentioned it, Tom or Chris, but apparently there was rumors about a potential third candidate. I'm very curious to see who that third candidate is. And who knows, maybe it's not either Foreman or the guy or the assistant GM from Arizona. It could be somebody else we've never even heard of. And we're like, oh, wow, I did not see that coming. And that could be the case because we all know, guys, the Rockies keep very things close to the chest. That could be the selection. We might even not even mention the guy. So we'll find out probably by next week, according to Patrick Saunders, of who that next guy is. And then, again, tonight's going to be a little bit of a shorter one, and then we're going to have a little bit of a trivia segment presented by Tom. Starting off with some of the news that came out, I think it was last week. Rockies made some more coaching moves. Daryl Scott, pitching coach for a while, is stepping down, quote, fired. And you have to ask yourself the question, is Warren Schaefer next? And whoever the Rockies hire, whether it's the GM or president of baseball operations, you would have to imagine he's going to bring in his own. Here's a take for me. I was thinking about this last night. What if the Rockies hire both of those guys, and then one of them is the GM, one of them is the president of baseball operations, and then they go out and make their hirings, their new head coach, or not head coach, not football, their new manager and their new pitching coach? What if that is the case? I'm not saying that is going to happen, but it could be a possibility because the Rockies do need both. However, given the Rockies, from what we've heard, they're only going to make one move, and this is going to be the big move. So I don't know, guy. I mean, Tom, what do you think is going to happen here? Do you think it's going to be a GM, or do you think it's president of baseball operations guy?
Well, in terms of the staffing, the GM is going to get to pick ultimately the coaching staff. I mean, he's pretty much, when you have a new GM coming in, you basically he wants to hire his own, she, because again, Kim Yang was also, I got to remember that she was also the first female.
Again, a good candidate. I like to see the Rockies get.
Personally, from what I've read, I don't think she has any interest in getting back into baseball at this point in time. Because right now, real quick side story, the last one I heard, I think it was either Britt Gurley or Ken Rosenthal, somebody from The Athletic reported she's out in California working out living life with her husband. They own a vineyard out there. She's running that herself. So from last I checked, she's okay, or last time I heard of her, she's okay right now being out of baseball. Yeah. Whether she wants to come back in or not is up to her. She would be a great candidate. I mean, she did do some great things with the Marlins. She, of course, has history with the White Sox, the Yankees, etc. So she's got connections if she wants to come back. But again, that's totally up to her. As far as the GM, he's going to get to pick his own staff. I mean, he's going to get to ultimately hire who he wants as the manager, who the manager's also going to have input on who he would like to see on the coaching staff, especially when it comes to pitching coach, because as we all know, the Rockies need to have some, in my eyes, as far as comes to developing a new pitching staff or growing the pitching staff from within, there needs to be a whole new set of ideas, whether it's training methods, approaches to pitching at home or pitching on the road, pitch sequences, are the type of pitchers we want to have in our bullpen or rotation. Again, there are some pitchers out there, some pitch types out there that I think should be more utilized than others but that's my own personal opinion. So yeah, again, so far there have been some very interesting coaching managerial hires. Kurt Suzuki getting a 1-year contract with the Angels. That's going to be interesting for him. That's kind of like a tryout contract. But as far as our manager, again, we have to wait. We see the GM comes again. I know whoever the GM is going to hire, it's going to be. I think that person's going to run a extensive search. There are no short list of candidates out there. I mean, heck. The Giants just shocked us. They hired the head coach out of Tennessee. So crazy things happen. Whether they work, whether they work out. If they don't work out, that's the roll of the dice that you take with the gamble that you take. So, but ultimately, to summarize, it's going to be whoever the new GM wants. It's going to be him or her. It's going to be their choice on the hire. And then the coaching staff, of course, is going to be rounded out based on who they believe would be a fit to taking this team in a different direction. Because as we've talked about extensively on this podcast, when it comes to the direction, it's nice to see that the Monfort family is understanding that they need to do things differently. Ultimately, I think the GM is going to share those values.
What becomes of Clint Hurdle? This comment on YouTube. Thank you for that comment, Chris. I don't know if Adam's told you about his opinions on Clint Hurdle or if you've seen our past episodes, but we know that Adam, and of course we love Clint Hurdle and we would like to have him on our podcast, but we know that the Rockies, given their history, they usually like to promote, and of course the Rockies, Bill Schmidt no longer with the organization. I feel like Bill Schmidt, if he was still the GM, he would be like, hey, look what happened in 2007. Let's have him as the old hitting coach and the interim hitting coach from this past year become the new manager or have a piece in the front office. I still think Clint Hurdle did a great job. I mean, I know he was some sort of scout before he took the role of interim hitting coach. I don't know, Chris, what's your thoughts on Clint Hurdle here to answer the comment?
I think if he comes back, it would probably be best if he came back in some sort of advisory role, because that's the type of role he was in before, right? Before he got bumped up to being on the bench with the coaching staff, with the team, game to game. So I think it's best not to try and bring the past to the present. I think it's just best to find a group from the managerial perspective, from the overall leadership perspective in the front office, that is committed to evaluating the landscape of today and then finding what best works in today's day and age of baseball. It's very different playing in 2025, soon to be 2026 MLB compared to 2007, 2008, 2009 MLB. It's completely different. And so the Rockies still have the same general issues that need to be resolved, but I think those issues would be best resolved by somebody who's bringing a new set of eyes, who hasn't necessarily been involved with the organization extensively historically, so that they get those new perspectives and can just move forward and lay a new foundation at this point in time, rather than trying to bring the past and the successes of the past into the present. Yeah,
fully agree. And with Warren Schaefer, again, as Tom alluded to, the new GM or whoever's going to be, he's going to be in charge of, getting a new manager potentially, or, then the pitching coach, the coaching staff. And, again, it's not solid. We haven't heard anything about Warren Schaefer returning. There's just been reports saying that he's, as of right now, still planning to come back. I would like to see Warren Schaefer still come back with the organization as a third base coach or as a bench coach. I think he did a fairly good job at the position. Again, it's not his fault. The reason why the Rockies lost close to 120 games this year, I thought he did a decent job, especially with the clubhouse. They loved him. And, again, we've talked about it many times. Bud Black, great manager in the 2017-2018 seasons. But again, Bud Black was just not the right manager for a rebuild. He never has been, never will be. It's just, again, the Rockies needed to look at a guy that is, again, like you said, Chris, bring in his own guys, that he has a plan to turn this thing around and to have not only short-term success, but long-term success. And by the way, for those who are listening or watching, this will be the very first time the Rockies have gone outside the organization for a general manager or a big front office hiring since they hired Dan O'Dowd in the early 2000s, I think. And Dan O'Dowd was also from the Cleveland organization. So the Rockies, I feel like they've done some business with Cleveland before. Bill Schmidt also, I believe, also from the Guardians organization. So they have that history. But I again, it's the last time the Rockies made a move like this outside the organization. I mean, I was a toddler. I mean, Chris, I think we're kind of close in the age. We were like babies basically when they last made a move like this. And so it's definitely fresh, and it's really nice to see finally that the Rockies are going truly outside the organization here. And in my personal opinion, I thought Dan O'Dowd did a great job with the team. Again, he helped raise the Todd and the Toddlers, right? And then he built that 2017 team, not 17, 2017. Got back to the playoffs in 2009. we all know how good we were in 2010. Unfortunately, missed the playoffs by, I think, a couple games. And then 2011, we had a hot start, and then, of course, fell apart a lot due to injuries. And then, of course, Todd Helton, his era was over, 2012, 2013. And now it's time to hand things off. It was time for him to retire and let go of the role of GM. So I'm looking forward to this. It's definitely a breath of fresh air. Definitely a part in Rockies history that is huge, and a part in Rockies history where they can turn this thing around for the long term, not just for short term. This is not an interim type of job. This is for the long term of the future for the Rockies. So I think people should be excited. And yes, there should be room for some cautious optimism because, again, we already know who's the owner. At the end of the day, he does have the final say. But I do think with Walker taking a big part of looking for the new guy, I think this is huge. And I think Walker knows the issue. So one of the last things I'll ask you guys, I'm going to hand it off to Tom here. Will Warren Schaefer come back next year? And do you think, the first base coach, Ron Gideon, and I think Jordan Pacheco, I think for a little bit, he was also first base coach, and Andy Gonzalez. Do you think those guys are going to come back, or do you think they're going to kind of go as well as whoever we get, whether it's the GM or PBO? Do you think those guys are gone, or do you think they have a good chance of staying?
I think it's a short answer. My answer is pretty short as far as just like player over turnover, coaching turnover can happen just as easily. Nothing against the coaches from this year's staff. I'm not saying it's a bet. It's against you or your ability to make an impact with the organization. It's just, it happens. Players get tendered, non-tendered, traded, cut, signed all the time. Coaching changes happen, of course, even when the manager stays the same from year to year, coaching changes happen as well. So it's not like they won't catch on. They'll catch on somewhere else. They're all good coaches at their respective areas of expertise. So they'll all catch on. But Warren Schaefer, he did a fantastic job given what he had. So you got to commend him for that. But ultimately, I think they will move on from him because one thing in business, you don't demote people. You just kind of, in a sense, move on from guys. Unfortunately, and I'm not saying it to be mean to Warren Schaefer. It's just, that's how it works typically. The new GM is going to hire his own guy and they're going to remake the coaching staff in his name. And to answer that other comment there, reasons or guesses why Click moved on, or the Rockies moved on from him. I think personally, they interviewed him, and here's a common thing: owners talk, even though they're competitive and they're competing against one another. They talk. From what I remember, James Click and Jim Crane, the principal owner of the Houston Astros, I heard they had a falling out. That's what I read. That's why he was not fired. His contract was just not renewed. I'm sure Dick Walker and the whole Monfort family did the due diligence to talk to Jim Crane and asked other people around about James Click. And I guess just wasn't a fit. Maybe they just didn't see them getting along with him. Because ultimately you want to be able to get along with your GM or president of baseball ops. And it just wasn't a fit. So that's ultimately why I think they just didn't progress in the talks.
Yeah, Chris. And I think you agree that this is a dream job for any baseball executive out there. I mean, we talked about him a couple times already this offseason. And, Chris, I mean, again, I know, are you still looking to go into the sports world of business, or not sure, or what's going on here? Because again, if you were a baseball executive right now, I mean, I'm sure this would be a job, of course, as a Rockies fan yourself, this would be a dream job. I mean, can you imagine if you were able to turn around the Rockies and, let's say, win a World Series in the next, 5-6 years? I mean, you would be famous as one of the best GMs or president of baseball operations guy of all time. I mean, you'd be like the next Billy Beane of the Athletics in the 2002 season. I mean, this would be huge, and you'd be known as the person that solved Coors Field to give the Rockies their first World Series championship, which we're all looking forward to. This is definitely a dream job. Would you not say? You'd take this up in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, dude, foaming at the mouth. There's a reason why there's so much interest probably across the league. in getting this job opportunity. It's one of the worst teams in the maybe even the history of the sport since they've come into the league. Just not any sustained success at all over 30 plus years. And so to have this opportunity open up and to have the team actually commit to going outside of the organization to find anybody who can deal with the unique struggles that this team deals with, that'd be an absolute dream job. Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. To the question that was asked about Click, I think I have another additional aspect to add on to that. Click worked with Tampa, right? That's a small market team, fair enough. But then he went to Houston. And so it's tough to say, right? Because Tampa's not necessarily a large team from a large market perspective. And they do have a very similar, smaller budget type of emphasis that the Rockies kind of do. Although I think they even spend less than the Rockies. Regardless, Click being in Houston could have potentially been another reason why they didn't want to go that route. Not because of Houston's history, but just because that's a pretty large market. You had more resources. And to go from a larger market team like that to a small market team requires a complete shift in focus and culture building. It doesn't always work to bring someone who's had success with a large organization, has more resources, to a smaller organization, even though it's not necessarily the same the other way around. So that could have also been a reason, aside from personality misfit. Could have just been that they didn't feel like his ideas or his cultural building ideas were a fit for this organization.
Yeah, and given the Rays too, I mean, even though a lot of Rockies fans would like, hey, we need somebody from the Rays organization. The problem I would have with that, even though yes, they are a small market team, the Rockies do spend quite a bit more than the Rays do. Actually, if you look at in terms of payroll, the Rockies are right in the middle. The Rays are pretty much near the bottom, if at the bottom. That organization, as we know, turnover city. Like they turn over a lot of players. That's something that we would not want here in Colorado. Yes, while it could bring success, we love Colorado fans, they love their hometown guys like Jokic's, the Bo Nix, Von Millers of the world, and McKinnon's, Landeskog's, that sort of thing, right? Arenado's. I mean, that would be the issue. And maybe, I'm not sure if Click maybe they had a conversation. And again, I'm sure that it was not like an hour or two. I'm sure they had the Rockies, maybe they could have had like 7 or 8 hour conversations with Click saying, hey, okay, let's say we were in this scenario. What do you do with him? And maybe Click was like, this is what I would do. And the Rockets were like, we tried that before with Arenado. And look at the reaction, look at what happened, and see, maybe I think you have a point there. And maybe, again, it's different. And I think, somebody said, well, what if Andrew Friedman went to the Rockies and he was, again, the Rockies are not Los Angeles. The Dodgers are, I believe, they number 2. I think this is like the Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees. Am I correct on that, Tom? In terms of payroll, I think it's they're either 1 or 2, but either way, they're in the top 3. But you look at like Andrew Friedman, yes, it would be cool to have him, but it's just like you can't do that in Colorado. While Colorado is a growing market, I do believe eventually it's going to be a large market. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, the Rockies were a small market team. They weren't spending a whole lot of money. They were very much depending on guys like Todd Helton, a younger Arenado, Troy Tulowitzki. They weren't going out and getting free agents that much. And I think now we're starting to see that grow quite a bit. And I just think that maybe that was, again, one of the issues why they were like a little bit hesitant on Click, and they couldn't agree on some things like free agency spending. Again, it's not like the Rockies, and we see this so many times on either Instagram or X from these Rockies executives. They say, well, the Rockies, they don't spend money, or they hate spending money. They never spend money. Well, that's technically not really true at all. The Rockies do spend money. I mean, look at what they did with Chris Bryant, the largest contract in Rockies history, and look how that panned out. They spent a lot of money on Denny Neagle and Mike Hampton in the early 2000s. Look how that panned out. I'm not saying don't go in free agency, because the Rockies, they have done that a few times in their franchise history where it has panned out. Can I mention, and I think he was one of your favorite players, Chris, and that's CJ Cron, man, the Cron Zone.
Oh my goodness!
You got a little CJ Cron. Yes,
it's a blast from the past.
I know, and he was not that here. He was like here not that long ago. I mean, 2023, I think was his last year. But I mean, CJ Cron, Jason Giambi, that was a free agency pickup. They've had a lot of good free agency pickups, and they were kind of sneaky under the radar. And you know why? Because a lot of small market teams, mid-market teams, they do a very good job in that. Now the Rockies, again, not every single move that they make in that category has been great. But you look at some of these smaller trades, like I thought the Tyler Freeman trade was a solid trade. At first, we were like, what is going on here? I mean, Nolan Jones was supposed to be our next superstar guy, had a down year, and we trade him for a guy that had less productivity than Nolan Jones in his career, but both of them are younger, on the younger side. But Tyler Freeman, even though he's not a guy that's going to hit home runs, the guy can get on base. That's who the Rockies need. And so the Rockies, I feel like, do a very good job in making these like sneaky small trades that actually pan out very well. So looking at Click here, I think, and it's Super Pen. That's another thing I will say. I wasn't too big of a fan of the Jake McGee signings or the Mike Dunn sightings. They didn't pan out very well. I will say that Wade Davis did have that good year in 2018. I'll give him that. And Greg Holland, I thought that was a decent signing.
Don't forget Brian Shaw.
Brian Shaw. I mean, he did have
Brian Shaw.
Gotta love Brian Shaw, man. Oh man. And then White Sox legend, actually, Tom. White Sox legend. Got to shout him out.
Yes, indeed. That's true.
I almost completely forgot he was on the White Sox there. But no, I mean, the Rockies, they have had these moments to where they don't spend super big, but they do get guys that have panned out for them. And these are kind of, again, under the radar. And as much as I hated Jeff Bridich, Jeff Bridich was the guy that brought in CJ Cron. So shout out to Jeff Bridich there. But again, the Rockies, they don't need to do the biggest move ever to shock people. Again, kind of follow the Brewers here. I mean, the Brewers are a great example. They're not that big of a market. They're kind of around the range of the Rockies here. Just follow after that. And I would have loved if the Rockies would have interviewed one of the, I'm sure maybe they did interview somebody from the Brewers. And I'm sure they had multiple, maybe hundreds of candidates here that were not named. But we shall see who the Rockies get next week. I'm curious to see who they're going to get. Again, I would not be surprised if they pull a name out of the hat we have not heard before or was not mentioned in any of the articles. But given the fact, it looks like Sade and Foreman are the finalists here. So stay tuned for that, folks. A little bit of a promotion break here on the podcast. We appreciate you guys for listening. Before we get into our final topic or final segment of our little trivia here by Tom, quick reminder, if you're enjoying the show, make sure to follow us on all of our Rockies Now socials. You can find us on Instagram, X, and Threads at Rockies Now. That's where we post updates, highlights, news, and everything Rockies. So we appreciate you. And if you're watching this on YouTube or X, we appreciate all of you for watching. And again, if you have not subscribed to us quite yet, what are you doing? And that's why you're here for. Tom, I'm going to hand it off to you. It's our little bit of a trivia segment time. We enjoyed it last week where I think I did pretty okay. I think I got all 5 of them correct. It took me a little bit of a while, but I got there. So, Tom, it's your mic.
You just needed to get a little bit of a hint on the last, which is understandable because you had to go to a certain era.
I got the top 3 okay straight, and then the last 2 were a little bit difficult. Yeah.
You just had to. Well, as you go down the list, you had to go to a different era that all 3 of us weren't exactly of the ages where we would be staunchly paying attention.
Yeah.
And just to answer your question, the Dodgers did have the highest payroll this year, according to Spotrac. Mets are number 2. Can you guys want to take a quick guess where the Rockies were in the all 30 teams?
I think weren't they like 16th or 17th?
I'm gonna guess 14th.
Go down.
Ooh.
Down as in lower in the
lower, closer to 30.
Ooh.
19th.
You're close.
Ooh.
Well,
21st.
You got it, 21st.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
A little bit lower than I was
Nice.
expecting.
And here's the last trivia. Do you guys want to guess what their average age of the roster was this year?
27.
25.
Right down you guys are right around at 26.
26.
Oh, right in the middle.
26 even was the average age of our roster. 26 even, 26.0 even.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So there's
Makes
a little
sense,
fun. So to lead into trivia, there's a little fun thing for you. The Rockies are 21st in that's total payroll. That's not just salaries. That's total payroll. So just letting you.
And Chris Bryant's the highest paid player.
He still is, and he's under contract for just for our listeners and viewers. 3 more years we have with Chris Bryant at $27 million a year.
And another note, Tom, that you sent me in a text today that I think this upcoming year is going to be our last year of paying Arenado. And it's
Yes,
like
20, yeah, correct.
Nice.
2026.
Off the pay books, off the books.
We have to write him
Yeah.
one more check of $5 million, then he's off our books.
And I want to ask this question to Chris here because maybe we talked about it. I'm sure we already talked about it. If not, we'll talk about it in the future. But Chris, where do you think Arenado is going to go? Do you think he's going to stay, or do you think he's going to get traded, or what do you think is going to happen?
Oh, dude, that's a great question. Well,
Dick
last
Monfort
time-
decides to bring him back just for the heck of it.
He's like, actually, guys, I probably shouldn't have left. I'm really sorry about
Bring
that.
back DJ
Yeah.
too. DJ's available, by the way.
Imagine, just bring Chuck out of retirement too while you're at it. You know, just get the whole gang back together.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I bet he probably wants to go to a contender.
Yeah, not the Astros, obviously.
Not the Astros. Apparently, he was like, not going there.
No.
And so that's unfortunate. Wherever he goes, I'm sure he'll have tons of fun though. So there you go. Fun fact though, since we're on the topic of payrolls, here's a very, very fun fact.
Oh boy.
Over like the period of 2016 to 2023, I believe, Rockies spent somewhere like $500 million on contracts.
Mhm.
And the players they signed with that $500 million worth of contracts combined for a -8 WAR.
I did see that. I think I saw something similar. I don't think I saw that level of war, but it was something like that. And it's
Over that period of
Makes
time,
sense.
those guys, that's crazy. So,
it goes to show you one thing to spend money, but you got to spend it in the right spots. Unfortunately,
That's been
Absolutely.
the problem for the Rockies for a long time.
okay. So, Chris, because you're our resident guest on this show for this episode, at least for this episode, for future episodes, we'll see you more. We love having you here. So I'm gonna give you a choice. I'm gonna give you two categories. You get to pick one. Okay, ready?
Lovely. Let's hear 'em.
Okay, so here are your two categories: either attendance or contracts. That's your pick.
Ooh, so is this going to be me? I have to rank something or I have to guess something?
You're gonna guess a top 10 list.
A top 10 list. I'm going to take attendance. I'm going with attendance. This might shock a lot of people, I think.
Okay, this is gonna be a fun one. Can you name this could be basis. Can you name the top 10 seasons for Rockies history in total attendance? This is not attendance per game, not attendance per game, but total attendance. Now they're fairly about the same. They're interchanged a little bit, but the top 10 seasons in Rockies history where they had the most total attendance at home.
Do I have to guess them in order?
No, you just give me a year and I'll tell you where.
Okay.
I'll tell you. So let's say you pick so and so. I say that was number 4. So,
Okay, perfect. I got
and
you.
you go
This will be exciting.
whatever.
I think I know what number.
Whatever order
already
you want to
remember
go in,
one,
Chris.
right?
Start wherever you want to go.
Okay, well, I think the first 3 years they existed, they had a pretty large stadium. So I'm going to guess 1993 is on there.
That's number 1. That
Ooh,
season
of course.
they had total attendance of 4.8 million. 4.48
about
million. 4.48.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go.
They packed out Mile High for sure.
Yeah.
1995 maybe is on the list too.
Shockingly, yes, that is well. In some ways, that is one of the only 2 playoff seasons they have on this list. That is number 6.
One of only 2. Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Shocking but true.
Oh, I think I know. Okay, I know what
Okay.
senior did them up. Okay.
2018 has to be on that list.
That's number 10.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Dang. Oh, you said that's one of 2. So, 18 and 95 are the only 2 playoff seasons on the list.
Shockingly, yes, that's true. It's only 2
that's
playoff appearances on this list.
Crazy. Okay. 2010.
That is not. That is in the top 15, not the top 10.
Darn. Okay. So I have 3 seasons. That means I need another 7. Let's say 2008.
That is not on the list yet. That doesn't. That barely
What?
cracks the top. That barely cracks
Really?
the top 25.
Wow. That's
After a
wild.
World Series year, you would think
Mhm.
that everybody would show out.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's
How about
crazy.
2019?
That is also a no.
Really? Dang.
Rockies fans be better.
Goodness gracious. Y'all aren't showing up when the team is good or expected to be good. What's going on?
Yeah, 2019,
not-
2019 just missed it. That was number 11.
Wow. Okay. Just missed.
That's insane.
Do you want a hint? Do you want any hints? If you ask for a hint, I'll give you a hint.
1994. If that's not on the list, I'll take a hint.
1994 is number 8.
Okay.
Okay. Of course it is. Yes. They're still in Mile High.
Okay, That was and shockingly, there were only two that was one of the 2 seasons that were the Mile High. They were obviously on here. Yes.
Yeah. Of course. Okay. So I have 4. I need another 6. 1996.
Yep, that's on here. That is number 2.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So that's the year after they made the playoffs. Makes sense. 97.
Yes, that is number 3.
It's like go down the list.
See, look. When your team gets created, the first few seasons, everyone's super excited and everyone shows
well,
up.
then the following year, again, again, Chris, go ahead. But the following year, you did have the All-Star game at Coors Field.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I wasn't alive yet, so I would.
Yeah, I mean, I was still.
There you go.
I didn't have my Angels of Weeks guys. So.
Wow. Okay, so that's I've guessed 6 now. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I need another 4. 98.
That's number 4.
Of course it is. Yeah. 99.
That was number 5.
So I need another 2. 2000.
2000, yes, of course, and that's the season we all know where Todd Helton definitely got the short end of the stick with the MVP voting.
Yeah.
Okay. So wow, I need one more season.
This is number 9.
I already guessed 2001. And it's not there.
No, you did. Oh yeah, that's on there. That's on
did
I didn't think.
No, did I guess 2000? I guessed 2008. That's what I guessed, didn't I? Okay,
yeah,
I was
But 2001 is number 9. Yes, that's on there.
Okay, there you go. That's the top 10. Beautiful.
So a little fun little fact. So yeah, 1993, that was their highest. That was 4.48 million, and the lowest 2018 and number 10. That was just over 3 million people that attended Coors Field that year.
I knew 2007 was not on that list because I remember seeing a stat. I'm like, that's just kind of shocking. But at the same time, though, it's just like everybody didn't expect the 2007 run to happen.
That's actually way down. That's barely.
That's like near the bottom. Well, and then same thing with the early, like 2002, like that's when the Rockies were just plain horrible.
But
I'm shocked. Like 2019 or 2008, especially after the postseason runs, especially 2008, you would expect that to be higher. But what Tom? What year was 2008? What number was 2008?
2008. Where was that?
Yeah, what ranking was 2008 at?
Oh, that is in the top 25. Let me see. Hold on. This isn't ranked.
Wow, that's shocking. Honestly, I know. Well, and then 2010. I know Chris mentioned 2010 because again, a lot of the walk-off highlights that you see, like the famous ones, like Jason Giambi's walk-off against the Red Sox, Cargo's cycle, like all you see is like you don't see any empty seats. 2010 was like a big year. I feel like it was that's not even in the top 10. That's insane.
2008 was number 19.
19. Still, that's like that's insane. Yeah.
What about 2009? Did we already mention 2009? Where was that on the list?
That's right before it at number 18.
Ooh.
Okay. Wow. Dang. Where was 2017? 2017 was the year people should have expected
or like I was thinking 2021 as well because you did have the All-Star game in 2021. I would think that 2021 was actually because people coming back from COVID, you'd go back.
2017. 2017 is number 12, but 2021 is second to last because of the COVID restrictions.
That's right. Yeah, restrictions. Yeah, that's right because they didn't have full capacity until like I think it was June or July. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, someone in the comments said that 1994 was strike shortened, and so I'm not sure how long that strike was. But even with the strike shortening, that year is on the list above 2017.
It is. Well, remember also they were at Mile High, so that kind of for some of the attendance.
Over 100,000 fans.
Yeah, because you had more available seats. So yes, so that is correct. That was the strike. Which, by the way, if anybody hasn't watched it, the new Netflix documentary "What Killed the Expos" is great to watch.
Yes.
Because you do see Larry Walker. Because remember, he was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Who, Tom? Here's. I guess this is my turn for trivia. Who was it? Bob Gebhard before Dan O'Dowd.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes,
so,
yes.
And honestly, I'm trying to think of all the GMs in Rockies history since we were talking about it tonight. Has there only been like 4 or 5? There's been only like 4 or 5 GMs. 5 in the history of the Rockies. Who was the first GM again?
I think it was Gebhard, wasn't it?
Gebhard, and then
Gebhard, O'Dowd,
Bridich, Schmidt. Yeah, that's an interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's either 4 or 5. That's insane in the history of the Rockies organization. Obviously, I would say the best general manager would be Gebhard. I mean, come on, for getting Larry Walker for basically nothing, I think pretty much. You just pick him up.
It was Gebhard, O'Dowd, Montgomery, and then Bridich and Schmidt. There's only 5.
Montgomery.
Who the heck is Montgomery?
Exactly.
Dan Montgomery.
Oh, he must have been an interim. or something.
He
like
was-
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because it wasn't. Remember when like Gavette, he was in our front office and he was fired, and there was it was either Gavette and somebody else got fired, and then he like stepped up and got promoted from way down, and now it makes sense.
Sounds
I'm like,
about right.
I was like, first I was like, who's Montgomery? But yeah,
Like, what the heck are we talking about?
yeah, I'm like, who's that? But yeah,
he was.
yeah.
Wow. No, it's just the 4. He was one of the assistant general managers. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So it's the
Oh,
Rockies
so it was
only
just
have
4.
4. Wow.
There was just the 4 of them.
4 GMs in Rockies history. So the next guy will be the number 5. It'll be again. That's crazy.
It was Gebhardt, O'Dowd, Bride, Schmidt, now whoever the new guy
That is insane. That's a post idea for Rockies now. So stay tuned, folks. We're gonna work on that.
Okay, category
Also,
number
winning
2.
percentage. I gotta put like winning percentage on that. So I'm gonna definitely work on that. I'm gonna actually note that up.
Okay, now this is gonna be a little bit of a fun one, Steven.
Yeah,
Can you guess the top 10 largest contracts in Rockies history?
I already know what number
No.
1 is.
Well, you both know who number 1 is. We all know.
Yeah.
Everyone in this.
It's my guy. It's my guy. I gotta give him credit, even though I know he's ransacked the entire Rockies organization for the last
Okay.
several years.
Well,
That's
let
Chris
me-
Bryant. Chris Bryant. Let's go.
Are you saying Chris Bryant is
Yeah,
one of them?
number 1. It's
Okay,
number 1.
That's number 4. Can you guess what?
I thought it was number 1. Oh, we're out. Okay.
No. You've got
It-
2. You got
Okay.
Is this
Oh, I know
largest quantity
2.
or AAV?
No, Chris. No, this is. We're doing, just to clarify. He's number 3. This is total value of the contract. Does not include.
Oh,
option-
this is not free agency. Oh, okay.
No, this is total. Here's the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Top 10.
My bad,
I said
my bad.
largest contracts, and this is
Okay.
total value. This does
Okay.
not include option years or anything.
Okay, gotcha. I know one of them, and I know it's Troy Tulowitzki. He was signed to that.
That is number 2. He signed for 10 years, 157.75 million.
I remember that. I was in church when that happened.
Bonus points if you can guess. Bonus points if you can guess the year the contract was signed.
It was like 2011, right? He signed that,
That
in
was
2011.
2011, and Bryant was 2022. So I'll give you
Yep,
that one.
I remember. Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, okay. So
You gotta get number 1 here. You gotta be able to get number 1.
All right, Todd Helton. Come on.
That's number 4.
Okay.
9 years, 141.5 million.
Rockies
That was
fans are probably
17.
young right now. Like famous player. Come on. I mean, is it for most money or years or what? What
No,
was it again?
total value of the contract.
Oh, Ian Desmond, is he on there?
That's number 8.
Okay.
5 years, 70 million, signed in 2017.
I know Cindatella was paid a lot of money. Cindatella?
He is not in the top 10.
Okay. What about Marquez?
He is not in the top 10 either.
Mike Hampton?
Oh yeah, that's number 5. 8 years,
Denny
120
Neagle.
8 years, 8 years, $121 million. He is,
Neagle.
of course, the largest free agent pitching contract in franchise history. And Neagle, he does not crack the top 10.
Okay.
Close, but no.
I'm trying to think here. Am I allowed to look at the comments here by the comment, or am I?
Hey, you can do what you want. If you want a hint, I give you hint. You can ask for hints.
I'm just gonna go with the comment here with the help. I'm gonna go with Brett Seberhagen and Bill Swift. Like, let's just go with
not in the
that.
top. Not in the top 10.
Wow. Okay.
It feels like there can't be very many contracts before.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like
2010.
trying to think throughout the year. I mean,
Come on, you can't get number 1. You should.
Matt
know number
Holiday.
1.
Matt Holiday.
You should know number 1.
You should know number 1. Matt Holiday is not in the top 10.
Oh gosh, I am
No.
fumbling right now, folks.
Come
Come
on,
on, you
Steven.
gotta get
It's a
top
recent
10.
year. Recent year.
Top. Come on. Who? All right. Here's your hint for number 1. Platinum glove.
Oh, not Brendan Doyle.
Come on, just chill. Just relax, man. Take a deep breath. This is not.
Oh
your,
gosh.
your life is
Dude.
not on the line here. Come on,
Oh man,
That wasn't good enough of a hint.
dude. No, it was not.
Chris. You want to take
What?
that? Chris, you want to take
No,
that?
no, he has to get it. I can't.
Oh,
this
okay,
is-
okay, yeah,
this is-
correct.
He should
Bro.
know this. He
Correct,
knows this. He just doesn't know he knows it.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
probably.
Just think. Just
again,
think. You all right. Listen. Let me give you a
He's an
couple hints. Here.
outfielder.
You got
Okay,
a
he's an
couple. You got a couple recent players.
Trevor
here.
Story.
That is. Remember, no, he did not. His contract was
Trevor's
with the
way
Red Sox.
before this guy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
No,
Oh,
Trevor
no,
Story-
Aaron, yep.
no, Nolan, number 1.
Oh,
there
there
you
we
go.
go.
Good job.
Nice.
Nolan's number 1.
Okay. The reason why I keep forgetting Arenado is because, again, as a Rockies fan, I completely got rid of him out of my mind.
Oh,
Eight-
no.
Nolan Arenado, yes,
Nolan
there you
Arenado. 8 years, $260 million signed.
Did I get number 2 yet?
You got Troy Tulowitzki.
Okay, Troy Tulowitzki, Nolan Arenado.
So you got the top 5. You got to go 6 to 10.
6 to 10. Okay, gosh.
With number,
okay.
you got, but you did get number 7 though.
Okay. I'm trying to think here. Catchers, not. Catchers, no.
There's no catchers in this list.
A lot of them got to be outfielders, right? Larry Walker, is he on there? No, I already mentioned Larry Walker.
No, he was a release. No,
Dante Bichette.
No,
Let me see. Carlos Gonzalez.
that is
I
true.
already
He's he is number
Oh,
7.
Okay.
7 years, $80 million.
Okay. I already mentioned Senzatella. I already mentioned. Did I mention Marquez?
Yes, you did. But
Okay.
he's not.
Jeff Francis.
No.
Ubaldo.
Nope.
What? Okay.
You're looking for a pitcher though.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
Wade Davis. Wade Davis.
Nope. He did.
Greg-
he just misses the top 10.
Greg
Just
Holland?
misses it. Nope.
Oh,
He was a 1-year deal.
1-year deal. Oh gosh. It can't be recently though. That's the thing.
It is a recent one.
It is recently, but this is kind of an under the radar one that I even forgot until I looked a few weeks ago. So
that does
just,
not
just
help me
think
at
about
all.
it. Think about it. It
Okay.
makes sense.
Very
For the
very
Rockies to do that. Okay.
very sensical. Chris is right on that one.
Tyler Kinley on that list.
He is not.
Okay. But it's a recent guy. Has he been on the team recently?
You're missing 2 position players and 1 pitcher.
Okay. So, I know CJ Cron. I know he got that extension.
No, that was only a 2-year deal.
Only 2-year deal. Okay. Brendan Rodgers. No.
The pitcher is really easy.
Like, is it a Rockies pitching legend?
He
Like
could-
actually, a
could-
legend.
it felt
or
like
an
that for a
all-star?
little
Is he an
bit.
all-star pitcher?
Chris
No.
is right. It felt like he was a Rockies legend at some point. Yes, Chris
At some
is right.
point. Okay. Let me see here. Was he a playoff pitcher that pitched first in the playoffs?
Yes.
Kyle Freeland.
Yes.
There we go. Yes.
That is number 9. His 5-year
Number 9,
deal worth
okay.
$64.5 million. That's number
Okay.
9.
Okay, and then
You're missing 2 position players.
and that's it. Okay.
Just real quick, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
address the comments here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 2 of them. Yeah, 3 of them in the comments you already got. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Did I mention Charlie?
You did
I think
not.
I already did.
You,
Okay.
no, you did not. He's numbers. You did not. He's
I did not
number
mention
6.
Charlie. Okay. Wow.
His
Okay.
8 year, he signed for 8 years, $108 million.
And so I need just one more.
one guy.
I'm not going to do a hint here. I'm going to try to figure this out here.
It's a position player.
Position player. So it's
Mhm.
okay. All right. It can't be Garrett Atkins, man. That guy, he was a stud, but he wasn't like that type of guy where you signed to a long-term deal. I remember, that's shortstop, Tovar.
It's Tovar.
Let's go.
Oh, nice. Okay.
7 years, $63.5 million. He just cracks the top 10 out of over
Nice.
Wade Davis.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, there's still time for Tovar. I mean, I'm not worried about Tovar here, but yeah. I mean, I thought I did okay. You guys like that the Nolan Arenado one. That's gonna definitely. I'm gonna have nightmares over that one for sure.
Yeah, that was rough to listen to.
Well, I
Freeland
think-
was
we're
understandable.
gonna cut that out from the podcast.
But
Well,
yeah, you really
I
do,
think-
man. Yeah.
Well, I
probably
think
should,
I think
yeah.
you were confusing yourself, thinking only of free agents, but really,
yeah, first I was like,
I
okay,
said
it's got to be
any-
free
I said-
agents, and
but I-
that's yeah. I was
But
like,
I said,
which one?
but I said any it can be any contract.
Contract,
Extension,
yeah.
free agent doesn't matter.
yeah.
I think that's what
Wow.
was trogging your brain a little bit.
Yeah, I was like this had to be number one. But again, like I said, I have blocked Arenado from my mind completely, so that's why.
You can't block him from that. He won what was it, 9 gold gloves with us and
Listen,
2
when-
platinum gloves.
Whenever a guy leaves like that, goes to an organization I absolutely hate, you just automatically like I'm out. But
You
the
hit the
thing is, though,
Cardinals,
but the thing is, I will admit I did not do well in that because again, I mentioned his name multiple times tonight, so that's on me, guys. But hey, if you're in the comments, got that, congratulations. But yeah, yep, the Tovar Dice extension, yeah. So I don't know. I will definitely for grading. If I had to give it a grade, I mean, Chris got an A+, right? I mean, maybe an A. I don't know. For me, it'd probably be like a.
I just had to guess the first 6 seasons of Rockies history and then a
Baseball,
few
exactly.
more.
Well, the thing is, if you look at that list, all the top 5 was in the 90s. So
Yeah.
I mean, as Chris pointed out, there's of course that bubble when you first start your team, and there's like that excitement and that buzz and everything. And then of course, last several years, especially, you can also attribute it to an attendance trend when you look at the across baseball, because all teams have kind of. Because again, when it comes to nowadays, we have so much more entertainment options. We have we can watch the game on any screen that we have available. So it's, whereas back in the 90s and 80s, a fun night, weekday or weekend day was to go watch a game at the ballpark during the summer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is
How
true.
about basketball being back on NBC? How about that? I like that.
Oh dear lord.
Yeah.
NBC would
Gotta
be
love it.
fine, but I don't
Nah.
want to pay for Peacock to be able to
No,
watch
like, exactly.
these games, bro.
Well, you remember, was it last year or 2 years ago? We were playing the Phillies in Philadelphia, and the only thing you could watch that game was by Peacock, and I was like,
Or Stream East.
yeah. Well, now Stream East is RIP'd.
No, it works.
It works still.
Yeah,
It
bro.
does,
It's a different.
I don't.
I don't
Okay,
know if I say that.
I
and it'll
use
get
MLB
you banned. No, I'm
Webcast.
not gonna say it.
Yeah. Oh, did I? Oh, okay. FBI, open up.
FBI. Yeah, just all of a sudden. That I don't think. I
Down
wanna
the
do
door. And
Just
Arenado's with
works,
him. He says,
though.
"How could you? I saw your podcast. You forgot my name. How could you?"
that. FBI.
No,
is a
I use
certified fan of Rockies now.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so, hey, as long as we do have some players following our podcast, so shout out to you guys. But I'm not sure. Maybe Arenado. I mean, I will say this though. Shout out to Tyler Freeman. I know he doesn't. I don't think he follows our page, but there was many times he actually saw our stories on Instagram. So shout out to Tyler. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't. Tom, you have an MLB account, right? Like where you watch the games, right?
Well, yeah, but I just don't have
Yeah.
of course this season I didn't have my MLB TV subscription going.
Yeah.
So but it is going to be interesting because of course with the new TV deal, because the regional sport networks, obviously given how cable TV is changing, that's of course
Yeah.
they're suffering a little bit. But the issue is, I don't know. It will be interesting. First of all, if Netflix does, of course, officially get the Home Run Derby, that's going to be interesting. And number two, if NBC does get Sunday Night Baseball, which they're trying to get because they want to control Sunday night sports year round, from Sunday Night Football to now NBA and NBC, and of course, having Sunday Night Baseball, that's what they want. And that being, it wouldn't be too bad. I mean, you can still get them through an antenna. So
Yeah.
But it
Interesting
is,
concept.
but to get NBA back on NBC, I always think back in the '90s Bulls, that jingle, that NBC, the NBA on NBC, and now it's running in my head right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and laugh it out because my skills at music are not very good. So I'll play it sometime.
We'd be the judge of that, my friend.
Yeah.
But anyway, it will be interesting to see how this new TV deal does work out. But of course, I'm not looking forward to a potential labor strike.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I don't. Well, we already know who's going to be right behind Rob Manfred, who's going to be leading that. Not looking forward to it. That's a discussion for another time, though. Because again, we already know that date's coming, but yeah.
I don't
Interesting
want to
comment here. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I don't want to mark it as a doomsday on my calendar.
Yeah, but hopefully, I mean, it won't be as worse as 2020, but still, I think a lot of people are predicting like a full strike for the entire season. But it definitely is going to affect the world of baseball, and I think I don't know if it's going to affect the expansion, because we already know that's going to be coming sooner or later. But
real quick comment on that: the fact that the expansion is not really being affected because of the CBA, it's because of the stadium situations in certain markets. I mean,
also a lot of people
you have the Tampa situation, you have the Vegas situation. So Manfred has to sort those out first, then he can worry about expansion.
I thought Tampa was already resolved.
Not entirely.
Oh, okay.
Well, the ownership problem has been solved. The issue is if they get the new ballpark, two things. Where's it going to go? Is it going to be in St. Peter? Is it going to go back to downtown Tampa? Or, of course, where's the full financing going to come from? That's the other question.
That's true.
I never consider a situation that resolved until a shovel goes in the ground.
Yeah. I mean,
Smart man.
We already saw it with Las Vegas, and here we were talking about it this spring about, hey, it might not happen still. There's still talks about it. Well, unfortunately, it's official that they already put the shovel in the ground, so it's going to happen. But I really don't think there's going to be a lot of success with that organization as long as that guy up top is running that show in Sacramento currently. But
for the novice fan outside of big baseball fans like us, you're not going to Vegas to necessarily only see a ball game. There's so many entertainment options in Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like they want an expansion team. They don't want the Athletics, man. But I don't know.
They showed some flashes for a little bit this year.
They did. Nick Kurtz, I mean, fantasy legend.
Yeah. The big
Nick
Amish.
The Amish. Yeah. And then, I mean, the rotation wasn't that great, but they do have some nice arms in there. I mean, do they still have Luis Severino, or was that just a 1-year deal?
Oh, I think he's a free agent. Yeah.
No, it was a 3-year deal. It was a 3-year deal. He has 2 years left.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Ooh, interesting.
Nice.
But they do, and then of course they traded Mason Miller to the Padres, and so he's no longer in there. But I feel like they're going to be fine. They're going to.
They got DeVries.
I think so, right?
Don't
Yeah.
forget Lawrence
And by the
Butler.
way,
Lawrence
this
Butler.
is one thing I think we forgot to mention. Well, maybe we did this, Tom. Did we mention this a week or two ago about the Rockies hiring that scout from the Padres, international scout, who actually was the guy that scouted Ethan Salas, DeVry, and was it Clase, Emmanuel Clase?
I don't remember if we did.
If we did not, the Rockies actually did that. So kind of a quiet under the radar move by the Rockies. And so who knows? Maybe we'll get the next Class A in the bullpen. We could definitely use that, Chris, right? Right?
Yeah, well, it's strange that they would hire someone before hiring their PDO.
Yeah, that's the
or
thing that
GM.
I think maybe we did talk about that because I saw a lot of Padres fans as well. It was kind of funny is saying that Preller, Preller's going to come here. No, there's no way. You think he's coming here? Well,
Preller
not to
wouldn't know
mention,
what to
I would
do.
not want him as my general manager. I'll tell you that much.
He wouldn't know what to do if he couldn't spend an infinite amount of money and make whatever trades he wanted to. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
To
And
answer
before
answer-
we end tonight, Tom, if you want to get this.
yeah, I
last
still
comment
have the
here.
payrolls up. So to answer that, the A's had the 29th payroll in baseball. They were one of 5 teams with payrolls under $100 million.
Yeah.
wow.
And yeah,
One final question: Who
Yeah.
was the lowest payroll playoff team this year?
Playoff team.
ooh, that's a good question.
Well, because
Good
the
question.
lowest team overall was obviously the Marlins. No, that's not
Yeah,
a
well,
surprise.
Yeah.
Let me
Sorry.
real quick.
And the
let me
Marlins,
just-
the Marlins, they were actually they were kind of fun
they
this year.
did. They
Do you
made an
guys want to
unexpected push.
do you guys want to guess who the lowest playoff payroll team was?
Oh,
Reds?
Close. That's the second lowest.
There's a lower team than the Reds.
It's not this can't be the Brewers, right?
No, they're not.
It's
they're
got to
not
be an
that-
AL team.
Yeah, it's an ALT.
It is an American League team.
Who's
I'll
that?
give you
Oh, the
Mariners?
Guardians.
the Guardians.
You got it.
Ah. I was thinking,
Guardians-
I was like, why the Mariners? They just they got Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, the Guardians they are number 25th in payroll. They just cracked over $100 million in total.
That's why you go out and get Matt
Nice.
Foreman, Rockies.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Playoffs
Where'd the D-backs come in?
2026. And by the way, there are some. I do have a couple of Sora clips I made on Sora. If the Blue Jays win tomorrow, I'll be posting those tomorrow, and or whenever they win. Also, I did cook another Sora clip. You guys are gonna have to find out, and I'm gonna be posting those. And they're kind of funny, but they're just for the enjoyment of.
Well,
out there.
just for the listening and viewing audience, the 2 teams in the World Series right now have, of course, the number 1 and number 5 payrolls in baseball.
Yeah, Jeff Hoffman, man, if he can close out the World Series, imagine that, Chris.
He closed out Game 5, didn't he? Wasn't it Game 5?
Yeah,
closed out
he
Game
probably
5.
did.
It was Game 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for
Well,
him. Good
yeah.
for him.
Yeah,
Because we got him from Toronto, and now he's in the World Series with Toronto. So
Yeah.
full
team-
circle.
The team
full
that
circle
drafted
moment.
the team that did draft him. So
Mhm.
Makes sense. And then isn't there another it's on the Blue Jays who was once a Rockies prospect? Was it Ben somebody? Not Ben Shields, is it? Ben Shields?
Didn't we trade for Ben Shields at the deadline?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, Ben Shields, he is let me see. I'm trying to look up. Yep, he was drafted by the Rockies. Or is he oh, you know what? Yeah, never mind. Forget it. Didn't happen. Conversation didn't happen. Anyways, we do have a couple more comments here. We have Albert saying, Albert is going back to the Padres for, I think, Tom, was it like a 8 or 9 hour conversation the other day?
are we talking about Albert Pujols?
Yeah, Albert Pujols, yeah.
He
don't know,
says, well, I think he's been rumored he was talking to both the Padres and the Angels, but the Angels obviously didn't work out. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, it would be interesting. I don't know. The thing is about Albert, first of all, if he gets a managerial job, he can't manage in the World Baseball Classic next year. That's going to be one thing that he can do. I know he's committed to coaching, to managing the team from the Dominican Republic. As far as his managerial aspirations, I mean, he's got that pedigree as a legend of the game. That doesn't always translate to being a legendary manager. Can Albert do it? Of course he can. Will he do it? We'll have to wait and see. I don't know what his relationship is with AJ Preller. I mean, we know AJ, just to comment about AJ Preller, he has no problem spending his owner's money. However, he is reporting to different owners. He was reporting to the family, not to Peter Seidler, rest in peace. I don't know. Here's my hot take. I don't think Albert gets hired as a manager this season. I don't think it's going to happen.
I know Nick Hundley, Rockies legend. I know he was in the talks for the job. I'd be happy to see Nick Hundley be a manager over there. I enjoyed him when he was over there.
Catchers make great managers.
Yeah. Jordan Pacheco, Rockies. I mean,
Mike Redmond.
I mean,
what makes a manager? He's not. I'm not saying. That's just another example of a manager of a catcher becoming a manager.
Yeah.
He did.
He did have a good roster in Miami. He did have
did have some success in Miami. In Miami,
and yet they couldn't make the playoffs. Well, and they had like Jose Fernandez before he passed away. They had Stan Yelich, Justin Bour, Realmuto, Ozuna. I mean, they had a goated roster. And
don't forget Justin Bour.
Yeah, Justin Bour, and then Hechavarria, the shortstop. You remember him? Who was their third base guy? I'm trying to remember their third base guy.
Martin Prado.
Like that roster was
Martin Prado. Wow.
And then they had Andrew Heaney, I think there. Andrew Heaney was there. I know he was on the roster. Like they had a really good roster, and their bullpen. Of course, this is before Mike Dunn went to Colorado. Mike Dunn was there
during those years. They had
Tyler Kinley.
They had Fernando Rodney as the closer.
Like wow, you ask yourself, how did that team not make the playoffs one single time? And here you look at the 21 team, the 20 team, the 23 team make the playoffs this year. One of the lowest, if not the lowest payroll in baseball. And here they made a run for it to basically the end of the season. It's just like that team. How did they not make the playoffs during that year? And honestly, like, again, we got to wrap this up. But honestly, I kind of miss that Marlins era of like 2013 to 2016, 2017 Marlins era. That was fun.
I missed that home run sculpture.
I don't know why they got rid of that.
I don't know if you guys know the history on it. That was actually a piece of public art done by local artists. And
Jeter didn't want that.
When Jeter bought the team, he wanted to get rid of a lot of things from the previous regime. So that's why he spent a few $1 million to have that removed.
I think it's still there. It's just outside the ballpark, right?
No, it's gone.
Oh, it's gone completely. Wow.
As far as I know, it's gone. If it's outside the ballpark, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think maybe I might be wrong, but it could still be there, but it's just outside the ballpark, or like you said, Tom.
I missed the fish tank.
Oh, the fish tank. Yeah. I remember behind home plate. Yeah, like I remember somebody fouled off that, and I remember the screen cracked, but they have of course they probably have it double shielded or double fenced and everything. But I remember somebody cracked that. I remember seeing a highlight of that. But anyways, so what a fun conversation. And of course, there's gonna be some stuff that we're gonna definitely have to cut out here. Wink, wink. Coming from myself. But what a fun night from our podcast tonight. Again, awesome to have Chris on our show as always. I think this was his third or fourth time on here, but we always look forward to whenever he comes on here. Great conversation, guys. Again, we'll see what happens with the next couple of games here in the World Series. And of course, we'll know probably by next week who the guy is for the Rockies, whether it's going to be the GM or the president of baseball operations here in Colorado. And, well, again, I mean, free agency start next week, I think a few days after the World Series ends. And then you have the general manager meetings, I think in Las Vegas. And then a few weeks later, you get ready for winning meetings. So it's all about to happen, guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We thank everybody for hanging out in the comments with us tonight, for your questions and just having fun with us. And of course, having that fun trivia segment. Probably didn't do the greatest on that. I'll grade myself as maybe a C-, definitely maybe even a D for messing up that Arenado. Sorry, Nolan. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for listening on today. Chris, thank you for coming on, man. Always appreciate you.
Thank y'all for having me, as per usual.
Awesome. Alrighty, folks, thank you so much. Again, if you have not subscribed to us at Rockies Now here on YouTube or on Instagram or on X or wherever you listen to our podcast, we appreciate you, and we would appreciate your follow. And stay tuned for our little giveaway by 5280 Media. We're going to be giving away some free hoodies to 3 of you guys, so stay tuned for that on our social media pages. As always, go Rockies.